Welcome back, friend. Welcome back to the On to Purpose Over Paycheck podcast. I am your host, Mr. Troy. Hello, hello. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Yep. It's always a blessing and an honor to have you following me, listening to me, talk to you about some great stuff, about the things that I'm going through in this new journey in my life. Make sure you're following the show. Leave a rating. Write a quick review, share this episode with someone who may need to hear it. All right, may need to hear it. All right, today we're going to talk about receiving without proving. We're going to talk about how you receive without proving, okay? This might be one of the most uncomfortable conversations that we're going to have on this podcast because many people say they want success. Right? They want the money, they want the opportunities, they want love, they want growth. But the thing about it is, what they're actually wanting is to finally prove something. When you get the money, when you get the opportunities, when you have the love, when you get the growth, it's all about that success, right? Because now you want to finally prove something. And proving is not the same as receiving. Understand this. When you're trying to prove something, it's not the same as receiving. Now, here's what proving sounds like. I'll rest when I earn it. I will feel more confident when I deserve it. I will slow down after I show them. I'll feel safe once I hit the goal. Those are things that what proving sounds like. And what it is proving is when your worth is attached to an outcome. Reason is because we have been trained to think that way. We have been trained to think that way. And what also happens is your nervous system treats this achievement like survival. So take a moment and reflect on that. Let that soak in. Let that settle into your soul. When you're trying to prove something, you're trying to show that your worth is attached to this outcome, and your nervous system will treat this achievement like survival. Many people, proving was protection. It kept you accepted, it kept you recognized, it kept you safe, and it kept you respected. So your nervous system learned achievement equals safety. And many of us are still functioning in this mode. Achievement equals safety. But that wiring runs unconsciously. You don't pursue things from desire, you pursue things from survival. But what you need to do is you need to pursue them from identity repair. Now, here's a part that most people will miss. When you are working to prove, or when you're proving, your nervous system is going to function in performance mode. And understand that performance mode is contracted, it's guarded, and it's braced. If you want to start receiving, that requires openness. And you cannot be braced, guarded, and open at the same time. It's undoable. Because right now, you're working from a performance mode when you need to be open in how this is going to roll out. But you're probably thinking, Troy, but I just want to succeed. I want you to gently ask yourself, if no one were watching, if no one needed convincing, if no one needed to be impressed, would I still want this in the same way? Because that question is going to reveal whether chasing desire or you're defending an identity. So we were talking, would you still feel the same way? Because the question reveals whether you're chasing your desire or, again, you're defending an identity. Think about that. So what does receiving actually feel like? Receiving feels a little calmer than proving. It feels grounded, you feel available, unrushed, present. And what receiving says to you is, I'm allowed to have this, not, I have to earn my right to exist through this. Understand that receiving is not laziness, it is nervous system safety. Be open. Allow yourself to receive. We've been talking about when we try to force things, we come from a different area in our life with our nervous system versus if we were just present and we were open and we were receiving. If we live in receiving mode, things come differently than when we're living in a forcing mode. So when you're shifting from performance to presence, when you stop proving, you don't stop working. What you're doing is you stop attaching your worth to the result. You stop negotiating your value. You stop using outcomes to stabilize your identity. And when you do all of that, something very subtle begins to change. Your signal begins to soften. And having a soft signal is easier to receive through. Let me say that again. When you stop working, when you stop attaching your worth to the result, when you stop negotiating your value, when you stop using these outcomes to stabilize your identity, your signal begins to soften, and a soft signal is easier to receive through. So we're going to talk about some internal practice. This week, I want you to notice, when do you tighten? When do you over-explain? When do you find yourself oversharing your effort? When do you start defending your work? Or when do you need someone to validate this outcome that you're looking for? Because all of those questions I asked you, those are about proving. A question you need to ask yourself is this: what would it feel like to simply allow? What would it feel like just to simply allow it to roll out? Because that's the problem. That's where we get caught up in all of the work that we're doing. We live in a very performance-based society, and understand through performance-based society, this is where we get the limited outcomes. Performance-based sets the stage of limitation. But when you're on the receiving openness and you're functioning and working through that, this is where you start to see things that you want coming in from the unlimited space where you can have anything and everything you desire. You don't have to prove it. If you're working and saying, I'm doing all of what I'm doing because I have to prove to the external world that I'm capable of this, and I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm worthy of it. And because when we do that, then we're giving ourselves validation. We don't need that. It's going to be so forced, and you're going to be dealing with so much resistance that you're going to become very frustrated. You're going to become very angry. You're going to want to give up. You're going to say, see, this doesn't work. Because then you need to stop in the moment and you really need to think to yourself, where am I coming from? Am I forcing this? Am I trying to use the outcome to prove myself? Am I trying to validate my value and my worthiness? Because here's the deal, when you achieve something, it's done. But when you go beyond the performance and saying, I'm just doing the work because this is who I am, this is my passion, this is what I love to do, I'm not validating anything. I already know my value. I don't need to set a performance goal to prove how great I am. I'm already great. Because that's that internal voice, that's that internal conversation coming from an open space and not a very limited space. Outcomes, results, achievements, success, those are all a forced, closed, guarded space is where that's coming from. And you need to shift that identity. You want to start coming from an open, receiving, understanding your value and your worth. You want to come from that space. If you really want to dive into this, and you're really serious about shifting that identity, recalibrating your nervous system, February 22nd, you need to sign up for this one-day event, because that's going to be the moment that you will come to understand in true greatness that you can get whatever you want without forcing it. You'll learn how to break down the barriers, the walls, reestablish a new foundation. You need to sign up for my one-day event, masterclass. 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Friend, it's only $55. You need to invest in yourself. $55 is going to open a door, and you're going to receive so much more. So much more. You're going to have everything. You're going to get everything that you want without forcing it, without putting pressure on it, without closed guards. You're going to start living in an open, receiving mode in life. You need to join that masterclass. You need to sign up before all the spots are gone. It's in my link tree. It's in my link tree. Because in this masterclass, we're going to go deeper about proving patterns form, how proving patterns form, why force blocks our receiving mode, how the nervous system mechanics of worth, and how to pursue our desires without attaching our identity to the results. So if you're ready to build without performing for your own survival, you need to sign up for the masterclass. All the information and registration is available in my link tree. You click on it, you'll see the beautiful image that says, get what you want without forcing it. Click that button, and it'll walk you through the whole entire process. Why are you afraid? Why are you scared? When are you going to start investing in yourself? When are you going to start taking that next step to say, I want to get everything that I want because, and I'm going to say this, it's your birthright. It is your birthright. Also, please make sure that you're following this podcast. Leave a rating, write a quick review, and share this episode out with someone who needs to hear this message, because there are people who need to hear this message. Because when you do that, your support helps this message reach more people who are tired of proving their way into exhaustion and burnout. Because, friend, you don't need to prove. You need to just make the shift and start allowing. All right, I'm going to leave you with this. Remember, you don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. Talk to you soon.